I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for Walden for bringing this very crucial debate forward. And I have many concerns, like many others have, about live facial recognition technology, many of which have already been raised, but I'm going to focus my remarks on the room for error and the potential impact that this will have on already dwindling public trust in police, particularly amongst Black, Asian and ethnic minority citizens, raising similar points to my honourable friends, the member for Liverpool Riverside and Brent East. Now, live facial recognition technology compares live CCTV images with those already on the police database and others taken from open source, publicly available imaging sites. We all know this. But this is a deeply flawed plan which can result in serious mix-ups. A simple mislabeling on an image database could result in the wrong person being stopped, resulting in a potentially traumatic experience with the police. Now, I can illustrate my point with a short anecdote of something that happened to me a mere few months after I was elected to this House. My honourable friend, the member for Battersea, was speaking in the chamber. BBC Parliament miscaptioned her as the member for Brent East, and when they spotted this, both members took to Twitter to point out the mistake. In their haste to cover the story, the Evening Standard incorrectly used a picture of myself instead of the member for Battersea. I hope everybody's following. And in their apology to all three of us, they suggested that Getty Images, who they had taken the image from, had labelled most of my pictures since I'd been elected as the member for Battersea. Now, since then, to avoid embarrassment, it seems most of the publications now use pictures of me looking like a constipated walrus. But their reason for this is that, and I quote, they can be sure it's me, and they want to avoid any further embarrassment. Now, of course, whilst problematic, this is a far more trivial example of what can happen when images are mislabeled. But if humans can make these errors, the technologies they create obviously can. And if online sources are going to be used as part of the image database, then it's almost inevitable that images will be mislabeled and innocent people will be subject to needless run-ins with the police. Questions around the numerical similarity score that is used to determine matches also ought to be raised. We already know that facial recognition data has racial bias. That is, it's deeply flawed when attempting to identify people with darker skin tones, just as Getty Images is, and the Metropolitan Police's own testing of its facial recognition algorithm identified disproportionately higher inaccuracy rates when attempting to identify people of colour and women. People of colour are already disproportionately stopped and searched at higher rates, and the use of potentially flawed technology will only serve to increase the rate at which ethnic minorities are stopped, searched and possibly even incorrectly detained, further dampening trust in the police amongst these communities, which we know needs to be resolved. And if any member thinks that I'm exaggerating the potential of misidentification, I'll tell you this. In 2023, Big Brother Watch found that over 89% of UK police facial recognition alerts wrongly identified members of the public as people of interest. That's 89%. And what benefits in that case does this technology bring? This technology is now being used in my own borough, in Lambeth, including within my own constituency, and on a number of different occasions. And as far as I've been made aware, it hasn't produced a substantial number of results. So, our constituents are effectively being placed under constant surveillance. The very notion of their presumed innocence, which sits at the heart of our justice system, has been undermined, and the cutting-edge technology has not produced substantial results. With some 6 million CCTV cameras in the UK, which all have the potential to be converted into facial recognition cameras, we are veering dangerously close to becoming a police state with levels of surveillance that would only be deemed acceptable in the most authoritarian of dictatorships. I believe that our liberty and our security can coexist, and it's not a matter of those who have nothing to hide have nothing to fear. It's a matter of the basic principles of freedom and privacy. This begins to draw into question what such surveillance is really here for. Is it here to keep us safe, or is it here to monitor us 24/7? Now, most members of this House would undoubtedly, and I hope, protest at the idea of police randomly stopping members of the public to check their fingerprints or other DNA against databases just for a possible match. So why should we look at this intrusive, automated biometric software any differently? Thank you.